don't be intimidated by how much something is. Look at it as, is it risky? Is it something that your investors would be interested in? What are the returns that you can give to your investors? And like, what is the risk reward profile? For me, if I were to do single family rentals, that's more risky for me because I have one renter, one mortgage. When I do a 300 plus unit multifamily apartment and we run our sensitivity tests, we can tell that even if we're at 50% capacity, we can still pay.
Hello. Welcome to another Knowledge Bomb episode of Lead to Greatness, where we believe in helping others reach their greatest potential and together change the world. Today on Lead to Greatness, we are interviewing one of the Kitti sisters, Palmy Kitti. Palmy and Nancy Kitti has built an impressive multi-apartment portfolio of $400 million in just 6 years.
And if this is your first time, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button, hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of these amazing episodes. And if you're on iTunes, go ahead and rate the podcast and leave a review. That helps get the word out to great leaders and entrepreneurs like yourself.
Please help me welcome Palmy with how to build a $400 million real estate portfolio in just 6 years.
Cedric Francis, and you're listening to Lead to Greatness.
I'm Palmy, the other half of the Kitti sisters. My sister and I, we run a $400 million multifamily real estate portfolio. We started 6 years ago, and we just want to come on and give you guys some inspiration about how we got started, and that same path can happen for you guys as well.
That's insane. You said now 6 years ago.
Yeah, 6 years ago.
6 years ago. So what, 2019? So this right before COVID?
Right before, yeah.
How did you get into the real estate investing aspect of it? How did that happen?
Yeah, so really great question. So my sister and I, we actually started in the fashion business. So we had no knowledge of real estate. We didn't know how to do financial analysis, none of that. We had a very successful fashion business, and that all collapsed overnight because our clients shut down all their stores. So overnight, it was a multi-million-dollar business, and overnight that business became obsolete. Wow. And so that pressure, like our whole family was relying on our income. And I think a lot of us can appreciate in today's environment where you think you have stability until you don't. Yeah. And that made us really pivot and decided, okay, what industry can we get into that will not only provide for our family, but also provide that needed stability? Because we don't want to be outsourced anymore. And so that's how we got into doing real estate. So we started flipping originally in Los Angeles. We flipped overall 6 homes. It was fine, but if you guys, anyone out there who has flipped, you're dealing with the city, you're dealing with city delays, you're dealing with contractors who are super fickle. And it wasn't scalable for us. My sister stumbled upon something about passive investing in multifamily. That's how we got started. So we're like, wait, we're actively doing flipping. Multifamily can help us with the tax situation. We can write off a lot of taxes for real estate professionals. And it was like the beginning of getting into this business. And so that's the beginning. We're like, okay, we love this. We don't want to flip anymore. How about we do the active side of this? So that's how we got started. We were flipping houses, and then we were passively investing in several multifamily deals. We did 3 deals. So one was in Love Field in Dallas. If you guys are familiar, Love Field, it was right around there. And the second one was in Austin, Texas. And the third one was in Tyler, Texas, which I actually don't even know exactly where it is. It's been sold since then. So those were our passive investments. And then but we're like, this is cool. But like the struggle of having to drive in LA, driving like an hour and a half just to get to a site and just like dealing with the contractors and stuff was like, it wasn't really efficient. And I just didn't want to live my life just being stuck in LA traffic forever. And that's when we were like, hey, why don't we get into this full time? Why don't we be the one who source a deal and raise money from individual investors?
That's awesome. It's awesome. I'm just thinking about, you said Texas. Why Texas?
So the first one, actually, our first property that we purchased as active investor was in Phoenix, Arizona. So that was a 76 unit apartment. But we were always interested in the Texas market because Texas, till this day, is one of the most robust market in the country in terms of population growth, economic growth. There's a lot of in multiple drivers to the economy happening, especially in the DFW market. And then after that, Houston kind of came along slightly after we got in. And so we're very bullish on Houston as well. So in the DFW market today, there's almost 500 individuals moving there every single day.
Wow.
500 people, almost 500, like 487, something like that. So we don't have enough. There's a supply and demand issue in the DFW market. And Houston also has the same problem. There's not enough houses being built. And especially right now, because of the high interest rate environment we've experienced, a lot of construction projects had to be delayed or paused because they couldn't support it financially. So while we see high interest today, kind of like suppressing the prices, in 1 to 2 years, 2026, 27, there's going to be a massive supply crunch. And that's when all these things that we've built so far is going to become like a very beautiful scenario.
That's the thing. How did you guys get the information to even go from, fashion to real estate? I mean, that's two totally different spaces. So what was that like? What was that journey? Walk us down it.
There was mentorship. We went to tons of meetups. We talked to the lead investor that we invested in. So it's a lot of education at a very compressed time frame, because you're right, it's two very different businesses. Now the core is the same, because I would argue fashion is much harder. We were manufacturing clothing overseas, so we're dealing with multiple countries, making sure things come together perfectly, and then shipping it to the United States, which was very complicated. So the mechanics of the multifamily real estate is very simple. Raise your income, drop your expenses. That's the fundamental. It's pretty simple, but how you get there is where you have to learn. And how we got started, we did the mentorship route, but what really was helpful was our first deal, we were not the lead partners. We were like the junior partners.
Gotcha.
Observing. We did raise money. We helped with investor relations, but we weren't running the day-to-day business. So we were learning the ropes. And I feel like if that's your path, that's the easiest way to get into this business, because there's so much unknown. Even today, I still have stuff that we're learning every single day. The market's changing. So we got in early. We got in with people who were strong operators, and then we just learned the ropes from there.
No, most of the time, you get into something like that, and it's like, well, what are you bringing to the table? So what specifically did you guys bring to the table at that specific time?
So in multifamily, I think there's about 5 buckets that any general partner operator can fit into. The first one is sourcing the deal. Having relationships with a broker would be another one. Raising capital, being the asset manager, and then being the balance sheet person. So you need someone with a strong balance sheet to borrow money. Like our first deal was a $6.9 million purchase price, which is very small for us today, but we borrowed about $3 plus million. So that time the balance sheet was enough, but there are some deals where you may not have enough, so you have to bring someone. So of those 5 buckets, where do you fit in? One, it has to be something you're comfortable with. Like you don't want to do something that you're not familiar with, but the other parts are like, can you actually pull it off? For us, grow your wings on the way down. So we live in Los Angeles. We were like, we're not local. We're not in Phoenix. We're not in the DFW. We don't live there. We don't know the brokers. We have no relationships with them. How do we get in? So we said, we spoke to people and said, I can raise money. That's what we told people.
Gotcha.
Can we? We weren't sure, because we didn't know yet. We were starting to build our investor list, but it was like 20 people, maybe. So it was not massive. But so when we came in, we said like, and just to be clear to your audience, like due to SEC regulations, you can't just raise money for these deals. You have to contribute in meaningful ways. But that was one of our core thing that we said, like, hey, we can help raise money.
How did you get the individuals in that first deal to say, you know what, the Kitti sisters, we're gonna trust them? How did that go? I mean, because you have to build those relationships.
Yeah, and so the interesting thing is, like, we started from zero. We didn't have a database at all. We knew no rich family members or friends that we can go like, hey, come and invest in this. So how we did it was we went to where people are already interested in real estate. So we went to meetups, local meetups. We went to several of them in the LA area, and we started exchanging cards, having lunches, calling people, just building the relationship. And then when it came time to doing this deal, The funny story is like, so now we know we have like a CRM, so we can send out blasts. We didn't know, so we imported the list to Gmail, and when we click send, like we send a blast, right? This announcing like, hey, we have this deal. But because we didn't know what we were doing, Gmail like bounced back like all the email because they thought we were spamming people, and we were like,
Wow.
oh my God, like we can't even get this part right. How can
Yeah,
we do
yeah,
this?
yeah.
So it was a bad start from day one. But here's the key. To build trust with people, you actually have to be genuinely interested in their results. And you have to be very, very transparent. We said we were new and we're not the experienced people, but in multifamily, it's a team sport and we're leveraging our partners 10 years plus experience. We're leveraging the property management company's experience, the attorney's experience, contractor experience. So when you really clearly tell them like don't hide anything, don't underestimate your own abilities. Like I said earlier, I'm new to multifamily, but I'm not new to business. We built a successful
Gotcha.
fashion business from $2,000 to multi-million. Like we can do this.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
figure outable.
yeah. Let's talk about this for that individual that may be thinking about getting into business. So you just
Yeah.
talked about real estate portfolio and in the fashion. What were some of
Yeah.
the, when you talk about you wasn't new to business, like what are some of the things that you knew, even going into the real estate market? What are some of the things that, you know what, we're still an expert in this area, although we don't know the material?
Yeah. So a couple of things is one is like the relationship, how to deal with different people. Going from fashion to flipping to multifamily, you're still dealing with a whole bunch of human beings.
Yeah.
On your operation side, your team, your property management team, like how to convey your business plan in a way that gets them to actually buy in and actually do the work for you. Because they're like core to your success. On the investor side is how to communicate effectively, like you said, to build trust and have them believe in you. We had people wiring us like $100,000 in these projects. We had a lady who's a dear friend today who's invested in like her and her brother invested like more than $1 million in some of these properties now. When she first started, she literally sold one of her rentals. And her husband was like, are you crazy? What are you doing? And she's like, I don't know. I just trust him.
Wow.
He gave her a 3x return. So she did fine. But
Yeah.
but like that kind of stuff, it's like you have to like those skills are super important to anyone can that most people already have.
Yeah. Listen, Lead to Greatness, 400 million in 6 years. 6 years ago, zero
Yeah, yeah.
to 400 million
Yeah.
as of 2025, six
As
years
of
later.
April. Yeah.
Yes. How did you do that?
So the first thing is very important. And these numbers may sound impressive, but the thing is like I know people when they get started, it may scare them. It sounds like large numbers, but they're only numbers and they're only commas. What I mean by that is like, don't be intimidated by how much something is. Look at it as, is it risky? Is it something that your investors would be interested in? What are the returns that you can give to your investors? And like, what is the risk reward profile? For me, if I were to do single family rentals, that's more risky for me because I have one renter, one mortgage. When I do a 300 plus unit multifamily apartment and we run our sensitivity tests, we can tell that even if we're at 50% capacity, we can still pay the bills. We can still pay our mortgage. We can pay our employees, taxes. We're going to be fine. We won't make any money, right? At 50% occupancy, but we're going to survive. But when you pick the right markets, when you pick markets like DFW, Houston, Atlanta, we have one in Rogers, Arkansas. We know statistically those markets will never be at 50%. None of our properties are below 90% occupancy right now. So like that's the first one. The second one is partnership is so important. Like I told you, like don't think that you have to learn this whole thing yourself. A lot of people get bogged down. Like a couple of people ask me like, hey, like at the beginning, like who's your SEC attorney and all that stuff. I'm like, don't worry about that part. Like if you're worrying about that, you're not going to get the deal. You're not going to get your investors.
Yeah.
Focus on the thing, like I said, the 5 buckets. If you're going to raise money as a primary thing, you need to go worry about figuring out how to add people to your list, how to build trust. Like if you join up with the right partners who are more senior, they already have a Rolodex of attorneys. Like don't worry about those things. So focus on what is it called? Focus on the thing that matters, not just stuff to keep you busy.
Yeah.
And then the other one is pick 3 key markets that are somewhat close to your house. Like our closest would be flying to Phoenix. Our closest is Dallas is 2.5 hour flight. Don't go, don't go like, oh, I'm in LA and I'm gonna go do in North Carolina. It's too far. You're not gonna be able to keep frequently unless you're willing to move. And the last one would be really think ahead of the curve. Though, like I recently heard something that was really profound by Tony Robbins. He said, like, in today's environment, you have to be able to see patterns before it happens. Like you can't wait and you can't analyze things that have already happened. You have to start seeing what will be happening. More important than that, like just because you see patterns, that's not enough. You have to be able to take actions on those patterns. So like for me, I see a move to private credit as where the money is at for going forward. So that's what we did. We started a fund that is specific for private credit. Basically it's direct lending to businesses and operators. And to like next level is create your own patterns. I call it CIA, control issue anonymous. So people think that they need total control, but when they actually do that, they actually don't have control. So that's why people go into single family homes. They think I own it, I control it. You don't control it. The tenant controls it. The tenant can trash your place. They can choose not to pay rent. And even the city can come in. I've experienced it myself. The city can come in and say that yard is mess. You need to fix it. You have no control. How I gain control is I hire the best people in the world to manage these properties for me. Because I realize like this, if you look at anyone who can grow in any business venture, do you think Elon is like building rocket ships? Do you think that Tim Cook is like putting together iPhones? They hire the best people so that they can be the visionaries, they can be the one leading. And the other thing that I think about a lot is some people say I want 100% control because I want all the profit. Well, you can have 100% of a grape, or you can have a percentage of a watermelon.
Yes.
Which one do you prefer? And like Jay-Z gave an interview with Kevin Hart a while ago, which was interesting. So he has his champagne brand, and he was asked like, why did you join up with like LVMH? Why did you go through them? Because you own 100%. Now you own a part of it. And he said, look, it was like, I don't have the distribution of their global reach. I'd rather give them that control so that they can do what they do best. I will sit here, live my life with my kids and wife, and I don't have to try to learn how to do a distribution globally. They know marketing way better than I do. They already have all that figured out. So I'd rather make more money, but own less of it. So that's like the mentality shift. Like if it's purely about growing your wealth, then ask yourself, like, honestly, if I do it by myself, how fast can I do this? Like we went from 0 to like 400 plus million in 6 years because we chose explicitly not to do it ourselves.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, this is episode 209. And so I've interviewed several amazing individuals like yourself. And it's so crazy how, through the years of interviewing, the person that's making less than 6 figures, the person that's making 6 figures, let's say 100 to maybe a $500,000, and then 75 to $1 million, and then multi-million, 10 million, 100 million plus. And what you just said about Jay-Z, he's a billionaire. It's so amazing how it's like the mindset shifts in the mind in order for you to reach those statuses, because like the people, that's synergy and having that. I want you to kind of talk about your experience, and even like you guys are, crossed over to 400 million in portfolio. Okay. So what have you learned at the 400 million mark that you didn't know on the 100 million mark?
Okay. So I want to go to your point right before this, where the mentality is different. You have to be the person who's ready to have the thing that you want. So to start, you have to be that person. Nan and I were not these people when we were in fashion. We were the opposite. We didn't know anything about finance, cash flow, growing our portfolio, partnering with people. We were doing it by ourselves. There's nothing different. And I've experienced, like we talk to billionaires, we talk to people who own hundreds of millions, billions of dollars worth of businesses, portfolio, all that stuff. They're literally ordinary people. The difference is they believe they became the person who's able to have the things that we want. So it's like be, do, have. The difference between us at zero and us today is I think the experience made us see the patterns better. So we're able to recognize like, okay, where we're going with our business. We've broadened out. So originally we were only buying existing multifamily. Now we have a BTR project, built to rent. We're building 118 townhomes. That's going to be like a long-term play. 118 units that are, so we're starting to build up now, finish horizontal. So that one, we're going to rent out, refinance again until beautifully. Then we started doing the fund. So that's a debt fund where we're going out looking for specific properties that meets our criteria and we're going to lend money to them. Now we're doing a build to sell. So now we're doing, okay, we're going to build homes and we're going to sell them in specific, build 100 plus of those right now. So the difference is we now have the experience to not only have the credibility with our investors, but also have the wherewithal to actually handle these varying products now that we offer.
You're really helping us, dropping some gems on us on today. I want you to, some advice. What advice would you give to someone that maybe, because here on Lead to Greatness, we have individuals that may thinking about starting a business, startup that haven't started yet, and they're still currently working a job, and now they're thinking about pulling the plug on it. What advice would you give to that new startup individual?
So I think you have to get educated. I'm not saying that you have to spend years at it, but you have to make sure that you study whatever business you want to get into and understand, work backwards and figure out how you're going to get there. I love Ben Hardy, and so I've read all of his books. His book that says 10x is easier than 2x is one that everyone should read. And he talks about like, you have to be so hyper focused on the activity that will give you the 10x results. Do not get bogged down by the minutia, like the idea of, oh, who's my SEC attorney? Like that's not going to give you your 10x results. Finding the right investors will give you that 10x result. So as you're getting started, make sure that you list out what are the things that will give you exponential growth. Anything else, I have it's like a triple D. Either you delegate, you delete, or you dominate. So if you delegate, do you have a staff, or can you have someone who may be a partner who's better at that task? Delete is, I'm not wasting my time on this. This is not going to get me to where I want. And then dominate is, I know I'm going to be the best at doing this thing, and I'm going to hyper focus on it.
Woo. Knowledge bomb. You're dropping some bombs on us today. This is really good. And we're talking a little bit about a lot about investings and things like that. So what are your top tips for effective attracting investors and building that trust with them? What are some tips that you can give to them?
I think like, like I said at the beginning, it's like, so there's a story that I always talk about. People, and I know like when people get started, they're like, I'm small, no one's going to care about me. But like, if you understand someone's pain, they don't care how big you are. There's a book called Category King. And what it talks about is like, if you're solving someone's big problem, they're never going to ask you what size your company is. Like when we were zero, we weren't talking about, oh, we can't talk about what we have. We had nothing. But when we talk to people, we talk to them genuinely about what their scenarios and why are they doing this, and understand specifically what their needs are. I think like if you can do that, you can win in any business, especially when you're raising money from investors. So you have to start from their struggle. It's not about you. None of this is about us. So if you make it about you and you're like, I'm here to raise money, and so the conversation, if we had lunch, right, Cedric, and I was like, all I'm talking about is, oh, you can see the desperation if my concern is like, I just need to raise money from you. When I go into a conversation, I tell myself that I disconnect my result from the conversation. Because if I go in there like, oh my God, I need this $100,000 from Cedric or else it's a failure, you can read that desperation and it's not going to be a genuine conversation. So if I go in a conversation and I'm just like, tell me about you, tell me about what's happening, what are you looking for? And if we are not in alignment, be honest and tell that person.
Palmy, that's knowledge bomb. I love this because I love the way you get in and lead to greatness. Don't miss what she just said. She just said she's going to the conversation, and even if she have a need, she going to the conversations like what's best for the individual, showing concern for the individual in meeting their needs. Zig Ziglar said something in the book I read. It says, when you help others get what they want, you will get what you want. And I see that as truth day by day, year after year, dealing with real estate or business for the matter.
Yeah.
What are some of the most common mistakes maybe you made or you see other entrepreneurs make?
I'm probably made a lot of mistakes. So one that comes to mind right now is like how fast you think you're growing. Like there was a time when I felt like we weren't growing fast enough. And I felt like sometimes it gets frustrating. We didn't buy anything in 2024. And I just felt like, why are we not growing at the right pace? And then I saw a couple of friends who grew really, really fast. Like he went from pretty much where we were to like $1 billion portfolio. But what I saw is now they have issues with debt. They have issues with repayment, and I see that they're gonna have like massive capital needs. And I told my sister Nancy probably like a month ago, and I was like, you know what? I'm glad we didn't grow that fast because we'd be in a lot of trouble right now. There's sometimes like we're always comparing ourselves to other people, but there's also some very dangerous things that can happen because of that. And so I felt like it was a blessing in disguise that didn't happen. And so we're going to grow at our own pace that's appropriate for us. And so I think that's, they call it FOMO, right? So fear of missing out. And sometimes I feel like I still have that sometimes, but I always have to remind myself, like, I'm growing fast enough. It's going to be okay.
That's amazing.
Like people talk about instant success, but instant success based on 20 years of work, right?
Yeah.
Or 10 years of work. So it's like your body not only is, it's accumulating information, it's accumulating knowledge and experience as you get in this world. So I don't think it's a problem that it took time, but here's the thing, like the reason I can grow fast is because the business I'm in. So if I was doing something else, I may not be able to grow this fast. What is your goal? So pick the business that will help you grow. For me personally, unless you're a computer genius who know how to create the next unicorn company, literally on earth, there's no other line of business that can get someone to have their wealth grow exponentially. So we don't have time to break down the math, but we've done this math many times. Like if you invest passively in a deal, you may be able to get 2-3x return, which is really, really awesome when you do nothing. Yeah. But when you're on the active side, you literally can do like almost 20x return on your money in a deal. It's literally life-changing. It can be life-changing. Like you can, and so I'm not saying that it will take a day, but it may be a deal. And then, like it may not be 1 month, $1 million, but there are deals that you will make at least $1 million if you do it correctly. And is it hard? Is it uncommon? No, it's very, very common.
Wow. Thank you. I want to talk to that individual that say they have millions of dollars and trying to figure out different ways of different things they can do with it. How could that individual, we're talking about that 3x, 5x, 10x. If you were talking to an investor right now, we can 3x your money in whatever length of time.
So I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't give them financial advice, but
absolutely,
we talk through what they want. Everyone has a different scenario. So obviously a well-balanced portfolio that's non-correlating is very important. If someone's heavy in the stock market, like today's fine, but like 3 days ago, it was really bad.
Horrible. Yeah, horrible.
And it's been horrible for a while. So, and I always tell them like, invest in whatever you feel comfortable, but also understand like you need to take profit off the sideline and go put in something else. For us, and if you study family offices, most of them have a portion, at least 20, 30, 40% of their portfolio in real estate because it's a tangible asset. It's really amazing for wealth, not only preservation, but wealth growth, because Organically, real estate will continue to increase in value over time as inflation continues to erode the value of the US dollars.
Yeah.
Since the 1900s, we've lost almost we've lost 90+% of the value of the US dollar in like 120 years.
Yeah.
So for us, real estate, income producing real estate that's tax efficient makes a lot of sense for people. It's not crypto that's like you're going to give you 1,000x return, but you're not going to lose your shirt the next day as well. So
Absolutely.
for us, our investors, we have investors who have hundreds of millions of dollars, and they choose to put some of their money in real estate because they understand that human has three needs: water, food, shelter. It's one of the fundamental human needs. We can't be outsourced. We can't start having your house can't be outsourced. You need to be here. And COVID, if anything, proved that out. We didn't travel. They didn't say go stay in place at your office, stay in place at a shopping center. They said stay in place in your house. And that's why apartments were doing so well during COVID and everything.
Yeah. Wow. Oh man, you dropping some knowledge on us today. This is so amazing.
So I believe we already are at the bottom or about to we're on the path to recovery. And the reason I say that is we're experiencing that in our apartments. So there's a inverse relationship between the value of the property and the interest rates. Interest rates dropping and will continue to drop. I believe today the CPI number, I don't know if it's official CPI, but I saw online that it's now 2.5%, the inflation. So it's dropping significantly. When that drops, soon enough, interest rates will start dropping.
Yeah.
You want to buy when the market's on sale, 20-30% discount, because in 2-3 years, as I told you, you're going to kick yourself for not getting into real estate, because that's when you're going to realize not just 2-3x. And I'm not promising, but I truly believe myself that we're going to do like 3-4x returns on some of these things that we're doing right now, because we have less than 2/3 of construction that's happening due to increase in interest rates. We have people moving to areas more than homes available. Like the DFW is one market. Atlanta has like 100+ people moving there. The Carolinas also are experiencing the same thing. But if you take Dallas, let's say 500 people for easy math, and that becomes like 100 people, 100 families, 100 family per day moving to an area.
Jeez.
How many homes? We are already short anywhere between 3 to 4 million housing units in the United States. We can't solve that. So we're becoming a nation of renters. And for apartment investors, like we feel like we approach this with a triangulation approach. With all our apartments, we want to make sure that the residents are experiencing a great place to live so that they can take care of our units. We want our investors to then actually reap the benefit of that, and then we win. So it's that triangulation is the approach that we always take with every property that we get into. We're not going to be slumlords. We'll fix whatever needs to be fixed immediately, and we'll do right by our tenants as long as they play by the rules. So I think like real estate is an amazing time to be in it. I'm super excited because I wasn't able to participate in the one that wrapped up 2008 after the Great Recession.
Yeah.
That was a great time. So this is my chance to do that. This is going to be generational wealth changing. I am very certain by it.
Yeah. This is awesome. Wow. Leaving a legacy, a lasting legacy, really. It's awesome. For someone right now saying, you know what, I want to learn more about multi-family homes, or I think this is probably something I want to get into. What advice would you give to them as a starting point from this podcast interview?
Yeah, I think like just get educated. We have a YouTube channel that we have a lot of free information. We talk about our properties and a whole bunch of other stuff. So anyone can hop on that. It's the Kitti Sisters on YouTube. Get educated, go to local meetups, and if you feel the need, join a mentorship. There's a whole bunch of mentorship programs. I feel like I said, I feel like I learn best as I do, not studying from a book. So study it because you need to know some fundamental, but actually take action and go do something, participate in some meaningful way so that you can actually have that momentum. Like the hardest part is the gap between the inertia that keeps you still and the momentum, because you need to exert maximum effort to move from zero to the speed you need to go to. But beyond that, once you pass that point where you're actually moving freely, it's so much easier to take action. Like if you're running, for me, if I'm running, the first like mile it's very painful. Like my body's not warm up, I can't breathe, everything's hard. But like mile 2 or 3, it becomes so much easier because now you're used to it. Everything feels comfortable. Don't lean into that pain, lean into the fear of failure, because I know you're going to feel those things because we felt it. What if I'm not good enough? What if people judge me for this? What if I fail? What if I lost someone's money? Like we felt those things as well. And if you feel those things, it becomes more of your responsibility to go partner with the right people, get educated so you don't lose your money, you don't lose someone else's money, and you can be the best steward of your investors.
Knowledge bomb. Wow. Thank you. This has been amazing, and so much knowledge has been dropped. The information you just gave to us is information I remember 15 years ago you had to pay a minimum $10,000 for, and you just gave it to us for free.
Feel free to send me text.
I love it. You talked about the podcast, but if someone wants to connect with you guys and what you're doing, where should they go?
So if they want to actually make sure that their money has a job instead of them working forever, they can reach us at 1,000 times better investments. 1,000 spelled 1000 times xinvestments.com, and then they can reach out to us that way. We're on social media, as I mentioned, on Instagram, on YouTube and Facebook, and somewhat on TikTok. We're going to improve that, but basically those are the channels they can reach out to us.
On behalf of the Lead to Greatness community, I want to thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule and adding value to us all.
Well, it was really fun having this conversation. Thank you so much.
We want to thank you for joining us today on the Lead to Greatness podcast. So remember, if you help others reach their greatest potential, together we can change the world. Peace.